I am so excited, you guys. We are finally starting the facelift process on the Miata. Ever since I got it, it's been this horrible textured primer gray color, and I've always disliked it and wanted to get rid of it, and now we're going to finally start. I think I've got a world's first paint job picked out, so I'm super pumped for that. That'll be next video. Today we're doing the fender, the tire rack in the back. I'm super excited. So the other day, I spent like 2 hours at a junkyard sawzalling off a fender from an old Miata. They are not supposed to come off. It's like actually part of the car. It's a huge pain, but I finished sawing it at exactly the same time as they started kicking people out of there. Perfect timing. New rear fender, heck yeah. Now just hopefully I can get this sawed off and the new one welded on there, and it looks, really anything is gonna be better than this, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Of course I'm gonna be jumping it and hopefully not crushing it, and we're idiots, not perfectionists. I really honestly don't even know where to begin with this. It is not meant to do this, and it's gonna be really difficult. I also got these plastic fender flares off of it. Okay, I think they'll look way better, so we'll chop these metal ones off of all sides and then rivet. Basically, this fender was held on by rust and glue and maybe a little fiberglass. I don't know, somehow this has to fit onto here. This is honestly one of the more difficult jobs I've ever taken on. The internet says it was impossible, don't bother. I figured I didn't have anything to lose because that fender was broken so bad. But man, it's like such slow going, so difficult. I don't know what I'm doing. That's really what it is. I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I'm just kind of sawzalling at stuff until it works. And it's not working yet. All right, after hours of cutting and sawing and swearing and smashing, now's the time to find out if it is actually gonna work. Pick up the gas cap. Hey, this might work. That's not bad at all. A lot of welding to go still, but I have hope. Certainly not perfect, but it's better than it was. We're not perfectionists. Now it's time to weld it. I have no idea how to weld, and my friends that do say this is extremely difficult even for them, so this is probably gonna be horrible. But what else are we gonna do? Let's get after it. Got a fender. It looks awesome. The welds aren't so great, but compared to what it was, I am so pumped. This isn't a show car, it's an off-road Miata meant for flying. The internet said not to do it, and I did it anyway, and I couldn't be happier. It just goes to show you can do whatever you set your mind to. Don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise, kids. It is on here pretty solid. This part wobbles just because there's nothing behind it, but other than that, it's on there. Now we just gotta chop off the old metal fenders, build the tire rack, and then we can start prepping for paint. The original fender is not liking this and kind of destroying it. I'm already in trouble because there's not a whole lot to rivet onto, so if I cut any more off, it's really gonna screw it up. These are just so rickety and I don't think look as good as these, so we gotta give it a shot. Well, this might work. It looks pretty rad. Hopefully I can get it riveted on there. Didn't quite go like I hoped it would. The sheet metal work is so difficult. The saw just like kind of goes wherever it wants. Really just wanted to chop the fender flare and leave the fender intact, but it didn't go that way. I think it'll still be usable and still look better than it did before. Now the real fun begins. We gotta build a tire rack on the back, just like a trophy truck. We are pre-running this thing out. It's gonna be hilarious. It also is gonna be really useful though. When I hit jumps in this thing, it's really nose heavy. With the front engine, it just like dives onto its front. So I'm hoping With these tires, it's gonna be at least 100 pounds added to the back that will hopefully balance us out and we can sail through the air like a bird or something else that flies. A soaring eagle. I'm so dumb. I also have literally no idea how I'm doing this, but I bought some metal at the store and some ratchet straps, and we're just gonna wing it. My initial idea is to slice the trunk, something like that, slice into this back bumper, and then build a rectangle out of this steel and weld it in there, and then hook the ratchet straps up over the tires, just like a lot of the Baja trucks do. Just gotta get rid of these wires right here for the license plate lights. We don't actually have a license plate because it's off-road use only, and that is for legal reasons. If you guys like the idea of a Baja Miata with tires hanging off the back, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I'm gonna be making some sweet videos. I have really cool ideas in mind, especially the painting, and then, well, there's that. All right, we got it marked. We're just gonna sawzall this and hope for the best. I'm really basing this off no knowledge or expertise whatsoever. Just a straight up 100% guess and cross our fingers. If anyone that ever watches these actually knows how to build off-road vehicles, hit me up. That would be awesome to collaborate, because I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Oh no. I hope this wasn't a horrible idea. Can't go any lower than this because there's not a whole lot holding the back of this car together other than this piece right here. So if I cut it, my car might break in half. I am so pumped on how that looks. I don't know how they're gonna stay there, but man, that looks cool. This is like the most Baja Miata. So the idea is I'll have this metal cage thing that'll sit like down here. We'll weld it to the bottom of the trunk. That'll hold the tires kind of in place, and then we will ratchet strap each tire over like this, and it'll hook to this thing that we're about to weld up. I have no clue if that'll work or not, but that's what my mind came up with. So I definitely calculated wrong, and it's not as deep as I was hoping. I have no idea if the tires will actually stay in this little box or not. Some definite miscalculations going on here. Super excited to finally sand off this horrible gray paint on the Miata. It's been like that for, I don't know, 2-3 months since I've got it, and I'm just completely over it. Really excited about the new paint. It might be a world's first. I haven't seen anybody else do it. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. First I gotta take off the bumper, do a little repair on that, pull off the mirror, and then we'll sand it up. Not the cleanest engine you've ever seen, but it's an off-road car. What are you gonna do? Got the bumper off and sanded up. It took like an hour, which is a really long time for how small it is. I feel like doing the whole car is gonna take a really long time, so I'm not excited about that. Now I can repair the bumper. There's a couple cracks that I'll just put some epoxy in, and then a big like Band-Aid of fiberglass, and kind of smooth it over with epoxy and hope that helps. I'm not using the fiberglass compound because I feel like that's just gonna shatter easier. So hopefully this acts like a Band-Aid and holds the bumper together. This one's good. This one held for, I did this months ago, so that's kind of the goal right there. Bumper's good to go. Now time to start on the sanding. I feel like this is going to take forever. Got one side most of the way stripped. Even the 80 grit sandpaper is not enough to strip that textured paint off, so I have to angle grind it with the wire wheel, and it is a mess. And it is taking forever. Really not excited about this. Woo! 2 days later we got everything stripped and sanded. I had to strip everything with that wire wheel, then sand with 80 grit, and then 120. I'm not gonna go any finer than that until after it's primed. So that's the goal today, get it primed. But first we got to install all of the fender flares. I installed one late last night, but I got 3 more to go. They look okay. I think it'll look better painted, so that's why I'm doing it before the primer. Then we'll kind of just seal everything up with Bondo and glue and whatever else I can do. And then we'll get it primed. I'm super pumped. It's gonna look freaking sweet. Although the primer's gonna look exactly the same as it was, but after that, it'll look way better. Oh, I also got this winch off. It's so heavy. It's got to be 50 pounds off of the very nose of the car. Really hoping to balance this weight out and just be able to cruise through the air. So these are just plastic fender flares straight off of Amazon for like 30 bucks, I think. But honestly, they look okay compared to the steel ones. I wasn't a huge fan. Definitely not as wide, but they should be all right. At least 10 hours later, it's finally sanded, prepped, bondoed, at least as good as it's gonna get because we have to do the paint tomorrow. Finally time to seal this garage off and we'll prime it. I have no clue what I'm doing. I've never actually sprayed paint before. What could go wrong? All right, after what seems like weeks and hundreds of hours, but probably not quite that many, prep, we're finally ready to paint. I'm excited. I really don't have a clue what I'm doing, so it's definitely not gonna be perfect, but we're not perfectionists. As long as it looks better than it did before, which it will, but it's gonna look exactly the same because of the primer gray. After tomorrow, it'll look a million times better. We got our high-tech primer. We gotta mix it 4 to 1 to 1 with whatever this is. I don't even know. So it comes with these little mixing cups that are marked for your ratios, but what they don't tell you, as soon as you put the paint in, it covers the lines and you can't see anything. Let's do some painting! Ooh, I'm a painter! Yo! Finished the first coat and I actually did an okay job. I am so pumped. It's a little bit orange peely, of course. I don't even know how to prevent that, but for my first ever spray paint job on a car, I'm pretty pumped. We'll do another coat and call it good. Heck yeah. It's hilarious because it looks exactly the same as it just was. But the key, of course, was getting that texture off. That's what I really wanted. And of course, tomorrow it'll get painted the hopefully best color, world's first paint job ever. But you'll have to wait for that in another video. Make sure you subscribe and we'll see you next time.